Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about different types of tofu, and also I'm going to teach you how to make a very simple tofu dish that will take you less than 15 minutes to get it on the dinner table. Check it out. Hi new friends, welcome. My name is Erica. I'm a Taiwanese citizen currently living in America right now. Cooking and traveling is my passion, so I'm here to share with you my favorite Asian recipes. On top of that, all my videos cover a little food knowledge or the dish's background story, also a Chinese lesson to teach you how to pronounce the dish that we're making today in Chinese. So if that interests you, please subscribe and keep watching. First, what is tofu made of? The raw material of tofu could be soybeans, mung beans, white beans, peas, and so on. But the most commonly seen tofu right now in the market are made from soybeans. If you simplify the way of making tofu, this is how they do it. First, they have to remove the shell and seize the bean, also wash it and put it into water. They have to soak the bean for a proper time and then add in a certain amount of water and then ground it into soy milk. And then they will pour the raw soy milk into a pot and then bring it to boil. And add in the gypsum water and mix it slowly until it solidifies into bean curds. After that, they will pour the bean curd into a fine cloth and squeeze. Continue to pressurize until they push a certain amount of water out and then poof, the tofu is ready. Well, I get this in an H-Mart supermarket here, but maybe next time we can experience making tofu at home together. I never done that before, but it'll be fun. Next, onto nutrition. Tofu, a soya product, is rich in high-quality vegetable protein, 100% plant-based and lactose-free product, and therefore suitable for vegetarian and vegan diets. Soybeans are rich in omega-3, calcium, iron, magnesium, and phosphorus. And the most important is the soy isoflavonoids, which have an inhibitory effect on the initiative factors of cancer. Soy isoflavonoids help lower the cholesterol level and reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, reduce bone loss, and can inhibit the growth of cancer cells. Now, you might be into the supermarket and see those tofu sections filled with box of tofu like this that looks almost exactly the same but labeled in different textures, and you don't know what to pick. And here I'm going to share with you the 3 most common seen type of tofu that you can find in the supermarket. There's actually so many types of different tofu in the market that I want to do that in a separate video in the future. And today I'm just going to share with you the basic one that you can find in the Western supermarket. You've probably seen this box in the supermarket before, but these one I got in Asian supermarket, so it's labeled in Korean. But you will find these in the normal supermarket in English. This is how most tofu are packaged, like in a plastic box, and if you shake it, you can feel there's water in it. And here you can see the label of it. It says firm or soft or silken. The amount of protein contained in tofu depends on its firmness. The less water, which means the firmer the texture, the more protein contained in the tofu. So let's start talking about my favorite kind of tofu first, the silken ones. The silken tofu, aka the Japanese style tofu, is silky, creamy, and have the highest water content. If you try to pick up a silken tofu with chopsticks, you will fail because it's going to fall into pieces. So when we're using the silken tofu for our dish, we normally prepare it in a wet dish, such as making miso soup and put it into hot pot. Next, the regular tofu, which is normally been labeled as soft tofu. This type of tofu is commonly seen in Asian cuisine dishes. It is a little more compact than the silken tofu, but it's still soft. The regular tofu is really easy to soak up the broth and the sauce, so I like to use it in my mapo tofu or some stew dishes. Don't ever try to pan fry or deep fry the regular tofu because it's likely to crumble. So it leads to our last type of tofu, the firm tofu. Out of all types of tofu, the firm tofu is the most common seen ones in the supermarket here in the US. Firm tofu is quite compact and is normally soaked in a lot of water in the packaging. Firm tofu doesn't crumble when you pick it up and is easier to chop. It can be pan fried, stir fried, deep fried, put it in stew, and even be used as a filling. Make sure to pat dry the tofu before you start cooking so it can soak in all the marinade and also less splattering in the pan. So here's the 3 types of tofu that you will find in the supermarket here in the US. And if you go to the Asian market, there's actually so many different types of tofu that I want to talk about, but we'll do that in another video, so stay tuned. So today we're going to make a very simple tofu dish that requires only a few ingredients that we always have it at home, braised tofu with scallion. Here's the ingredient we need today. And because we're going to pan fry the tofu today, we'll be using the firm tofu that I have gotten H Mart. If it's your first time making the pan fried tofu, you can consider buying the extra firm ones that if you see it in the supermarket, it will be easier to flip them later. We need to chop the tofu into around 1/2 inch or 3/4 of the inch thick square. Because for the firm tofu, it is a little harder to get the flavor deep into the tofu, so we do not want them to be too thick. And if it's too thin, it will be hard to fry them and not break them. So take your time. Next, chop the scallion into 2 inches chops. Separate the white from the greens and simply slice the chili and ginger. Heat up your pan with some oil, or if you have a wok, that's even better. Slide the tofu into the pan with medium-high heat. Pan fry both sides until they're both turned golden. And set them aside. Add in some oil again into the same pan and toss in the scallion white in medium heat. This tofu dish, you should be able to both smell and taste the scallion while you eat it. So we'll have to slow pan fry the scallion flavor into the oil. Take your time and keep stirring until the scallion turn golden as well. Add in the ginger and chili slice. Stir it for around 10 seconds and add in the cooking wine, soy sauce, and water. Now, toss in your tofu and make sure at least half of your tofu is soaked into the sauce. Turn the heat to high. Braise it for around 2 to 3 minutes and you will see the sauce is thickening a little. To thicken the sauce well, we'll need to add in some starch water mix, which means 1 tablespoon of water mixed in with 1 teaspoon of flour or cornstarch. And spin the pan to mix them all together. Of course, you can stir it too if you're confident that you're not going to break the tofu. Add in scallion green. Give it another minute, the sauce will thicken up and it's done. The braised tofu with scallion is ready. This is a very simple tofu dish that you can see it in all kinds of stir-fry restaurants back home. And here in the US, it will cost you at least $10 for a tofu dish on Uber Eats. So make it at home yourself. It's super cheap and easy. Doesn't require much skill and almost no risk of messing it up. Worst case scenario, your tofu turn into more tofu. But it's fine. It still tastes good. I like to make this tofu for dinner when I have a pretty complicated main dish and I want to take it easy on the side dish so it can all be served at the same time. Like the combination of, let's say, kung pao chicken and tomato egg that we made before, plus my pan-fried tofu, it will be a perfect 3-plate dinner for me and my boyfriend. If you like the scallion flavor, you will love this dish. It goes really well with rice. It's not too salty and you can taste the strong scallion flavor in the sauce. Give it a try and let me know how you think. The word of the day today is of course the braised tofu with scallion, 葱烧豆腐. The first character is 葱. 葱 is the first tone, 葱, which means scallion. And the second word is 烧. 烧, the first tone, 烧, which means braised. And the last word with 2 characters, our main ingredient today, the tofu. 豆腐. 豆腐. It's the 4th tone and the 3rd tone. 豆腐. Tofu. I believe the tofu is translated straight from Chinese into English, so it's very simple. It sounds almost exactly the same. Tofu, tofu. And by the way, do you remember what tofu is made of? Yeah, it's beans, all kinds of beans. So the first character out of the tofu, dou, is actually means beans. Let's try it together one more time. 葱烧豆腐. The braised tofu with scallion. Thank you for cooking with me today. Let me know if you like the recipe by giving this video a thumbs up. It's only gonna take you a minute, but it means a lot to me. I made a video like this every Thursday, so hit that bell that you will never miss out. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!